This week's Torah reading is called Yitro, which is the name of the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. Now, the main event in this particular parsha is the giving of the Torah, Matan Torah. The whole Jewish people were standing in Mount Sinai, in the base of the mountain, and watching, hearing, etc., God talking to Moshe, and Moshe talking to the Jewish people, and we also, etc. To the point that our sages say that not just the whole Jewish people, the children of Israel, were standing over there in the base of the mountain, but all the souls of all the generations, throughout all the generations until the coming of Mashiach, speedily in our days, were actually standing over there in the giving of Torah. Now, if you look at the words that God himself introduced before he gave the Ten Commandments, that even though the Ten Commandments itself, they were given to the Jewish people, not to the non-Jewish people, so to speak. However, the Rambam, Maimonides, mentions that in the giving of the Torah itself, in this particular event from this parsha, God gave to Moses, the laws that he had to share with the Jewish people, to share the message of Judaism to the whole nations, to all the nations of the world. This means that, again, even though the Ten Commandments themselves were not given to the non-Jews, however, the message of Judaism was at that particular moment given to Jews to share with the non-Jews. So definitely, the non-Jews also have a connection to this event of giving of the Torah, and also to the messages and ideas we can learn from this event. Now, going back, the introduction that God himself gave in his event, the Torah says that the Lord spoke, and spoke the Lord all these words, le'emar, to be said, to say. This word, this last idea in the verse appears actually so many times in the Torah, and usually, I would say in most of the cases, if not all, what it means is that God spoke to Moshe to speak to the Jewish people. Moshe had to transmit the message that God gave him to the Jewish people, and there was a whole order of priorities to whom Moshe spoke before and how many times to each one. Okay, it's a whole thing that our sages explain in the Talmud. In any case, in this particular place, since the event happened in front of everybody, and again, all the souls throughout all the generations were standing over there. What does it mean, Lemor? What does it mean that Moshe had to say something else? He doesn't need to say anything. Everybody's hearing over here. So what does the word Lemor, to be said, to say, mean in this particular place in the Torah? The Maggid of Mezrich, the second Hasidic master, he explained, after Baal Shem Tov, who founded the Hasidic movement, he explained something very interesting. Just as the words project what a person has in his mind into somebody else's mind by talking, and this is the great virtue that humans have, we can talk, we can share ideas and information. In the same way, when God spoke these words, he spoke these words, the Ten Commandments, in order to share, in order to project what and where. We know, if you look at actually the scriptures, in the beginning of the scriptures, the creation, the whole thing of creation, we know that creation was done with 10 utterances. That means 10 phrases that God spoke. Let there be this, let there be that, etc. You will find 10 moments, so to speak, that God spoke. And then you will find 10 commandments. So comes the Maggid of Mezrich and says, you know what? You have to take the creation and project into the creation the 10 commandments. That means project the 10 commandments in the 10 phrases that God used to create the world. In other words, your attitude towards the world should be that my job in this earth, why am I here? Why was I created? In order to reveal, project and reveal godliness, Torah, quote unquote, the 10 Commandments, quote unquote, godliness in every single corner of the world. And not just the world, so to speak, outside of me, but the world inside of me also, just as we know that our sages say that the man is a small world, just as there's a big world, and God is the soul, so to speak, of the big world. Man is a small world, and we have a neshama, we have a soul, which is the soul of our body. We're a small world. Same things that happen in the world around happen inside of us. So we have to project. Our job in life is to project godliness in every single corner of the world and in every single corner of ourselves. That's why this last apparently word that doesn't have any sense, doesn't make any sense, and is not needed in the verse, this last word actually means, what's your job? God is going to give you laws. God is going to give you a message. God is going to give you 10 commandments. However, your job is to project them in the whole world and to live a life through these 10 commandments in this world, this particular material world. And this is actually the same thing that will happen speedily in our days with the coming of Mashiach, as our prophets say, that even the physical eyes will see and will perceive the presence of God, that this should happen speedily in our days.